Hello and thanks for tuning in. Today I've got a short video, kind of a fun thing that I picked up at an estate sale, and I thought, well, let's see what we can do with it. Let's take a look at this thing. So this is a Sears. I don't believe it's Craftsman, it just says Sears. My guess is it was maybe a shoe polisher, because I can't see, maybe you could polish your Hot Wheels with it, but you certainly wouldn't try to polish your car with it. I guess that's on off, and that is to disconnect. Yeah, that's to disconnect that. Anyway, it looks like someone's worked on it before and split the body, hopefully not irreparably. And I can see, obviously, there's a wire nut in there. That's not factory. Somebody took it apart and did that. So we're gonna take it apart, check the wiring, although, this cord is dried, but I don't see any breaks in it. So my guess is this thing probably is gonna work right off the bat. But we're gonna take it apart anyway, see if we can get it to come back together correctly, and maybe do something about that wiring that's causing it to split open. All right? So that's our mission. It's pretty easy. I don't expect this to be a very long video at all. And I don't expect this thing to ever be put to use unless I decide to polish some shoes for my tuxedo. But hey, let's get busy. Okay, first let's take this thing off. This is a very old polishing pad too. But it still seems to be fine. Whoop, no it's not. So I don't know where I'm gonna find a little tiny pad like that, but let's get a Phillips screwdriver. Let's take this whole thing apart. It looks like just a few screws and we can get at the whole internal mechanism. Hopefully none of this is actually broken. All that I think happened is someone had to replace the electrical cord, which is interesting because that means this thing was used. Look at all this. Well, that's interesting. That wire goes to nowhere. Why would that be? Pretty simple mechanism, really. It's not very dirty in there. And it's not very well, I'll give you a close-up. If this were a metal body, this would be a much bigger problem, but look, you can see exposed metal, you can see exposed metal. Power cord goes there. So I wonder what these went to. What was this for? Or either that or they just used, I don't know, a regular motor, and I don't know. It's really odd. I suppose what I really should do is see if it's wired correctly at all, which should be pretty easy to do. I can test it just as it is. Now, here's my box. On, off. So we're off. I'm gonna push the switch to on, plug this in, and then just tap the switch real quick, and if it runs, it's wired right. Yeah, it's wired right. So, what was the problem here with this wiring that it wouldn't close? I am gonna do something about this. That's just not acceptable to have that like that. And easily enough, all you really have to do is just cut this wire and put the wire nut back on it. It's just too long. Well, no, we got exposed threads there. That's not ideal. But why was the unit split apart? All right, well, I'm gonna get some cleaner. There is no grease here, but there does appear to be just a tiny bit of grease on the worm gear. So I'm gonna clean the motor out a little bit and then put a little bit of grease on it. So what I'm using is dry lube. It is not regular WD-40. I say that in every video because it's very important to realize that it's not a good idea to be spraying WD-40 in your motor. Well, we can see the brushes. The brushes look fine. It's a little dirty in there, not bad though. Yeah, a little gunk coming out, but it's not bad. The vent there is where it's dirty in there. Yeah, you can see the dirt coming out. All right, that was pretty quick. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on the gear here. It does not need much at all. But it looks like at one point it did have some. Go. Let me get an oil can, put some oil on the bearings. That's all you have to do there. Same with this guy, it's too long. Trim it down. Still a little confused why this neutral wire is just hanging out on its own there. All these wire nuts were just done wrong. That guy's okay. So this knot was clearly so the cord wouldn't get pulled out. So the question is, what was pushing this thing apart? It is warped, it looks like. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the motor out and see if maybe the motor isn't sitting as far down as it should. Because something's pushing the chassis apart. The easy way to check it would be to take the whole mechanism out and see if the plastic would fit then. Okay, so we do have a wire here that may have been in the way. One of the brush wires. This gives us an opportunity to clean this out a little bit better as well. It has a certain way it goes in. Ah, I see. This switch may be part of the problem as well. But let's do this since it's pretty easy. Let's take it all out. Let's see how well this will fit together with nothing in it. Is it still warped? It is still warped. So it doesn't matter really how far I pull this. It's not going to come together right. I wonder what warped it. And yet, when you just look at it, it does look warped there. Oh yeah, see how this bends? This is straight, and that kinks. Well, that's a really strange thing. I wonder if we maybe be able to hit it with a heat gun and level it off, because this side's fine. This side fits fine. This side is warped. And no amount of tightening on that is actually going to make much of a difference. That's a pretty big gap. Well, let's get a heat gun. So maybe somebody pried it open, because if you really look at it, this side's straight. Both of these are a little bit warped. This top piece more so though. So let's focus on this. Yeah, a little bit better. Well, we're closer. Let's try it up here. Well, we're closer, but it looks like that's never going to completely seal. Because this piece really has to just come way down. I don't think it's going to do that. All right, I have one other suggestion that might work, and that's taking a little material off of this so this can push a little further down to pull it a little tighter. So we got it a lot closer, so let's try that. I just hit it real quick with the grinding wheel to take just a little bit of material off. Get it to sit a little tighter, and it does. In fact, it sits a lot tighter. Will it sit tighter with the motor in place? I don't know. This is really warped here too, and it's interesting, you see these lines, plastic, almost like this case was made wrong to begin with. I'm gonna try one more time to bend this in. All right, well, let's put it together.
Hey everyone, just a brief interruption here. If you're enjoying this content and you'd like to support my channel, and especially if you like cats, I've written a series of chapter books for ages 8 and up, fully illustrated, called Flea Biscuit and Friends. The first book in the series is Flea Biscuit Finds a Home, followed by Flea Biscuit Summer Vacation, and finally, Flea Biscuit's Magic Christmas. They're available at all local booksellers as well as on Amazon.com. I will post a link in the video description. And hey, that's my pitch. Back to the video.
Make sure I'm not riding on any of the wires. Well, we're certainly fitting closer together now. Let's test it. So that's its full speed. Oh, here it comes. Now let's clean it up a little bit. I mean, we're pretty good over there. Not great, but pretty good. I'm going to use plastic polish. Now I got to avoid this sticker. Not much I can do about the damage to it, but I will put a little super glue on that to hold it. But for now, let's just focus on polishing up. So this is Novus Fine Scratch Remover. It's essentially a plastic polish. Well, I'd like to get some of these stains out of it, but this stuff doesn't seem to be strong enough to do that. I am polishing a polisher. You don't want to use that power buffer that I have. You don't want to use that on this. It'll burn right through that plastic. Oh well. It works. At least now the cord's not going to fall out. All right, so the fix isn't bad. It doesn't look as good as this side, but even this side now fits better. The back fits pretty tight. Not ideal, but pretty tight. Certainly within a safety margin. And that's about it. There's really not much else to do with this oddball Sears polisher. Maybe for shoes? I don't know. To hold this decal down, I'm just going to put a little crazy glue. So when I restored this Black & Decker, I bought some pads for it. Now they're clearly too big for this little guy, but I'm thinking I might be able to get one to work. This is close, but the shaft isn't long enough. It requires a couple extra inches. Would have worked fine though. I have no idea where that even came from. So here's my destroyed pad. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the pad right into this other pad, and then I'm going to make a new buffer pad with a tie wrap and this oversized pad, and we're gonna see if it works. Make sure we're kind of pulled up evenly. I'm gonna have a lot of extra here. Looks like we got a pad going there. So I just got to trim this off. Let me get some scissors. There we go. Cool. That'll work for now. I don't know if I'll ever find a pad that's the right size. And I also don't know if I'll ever use this thing. But certainly looks better like this. Yep. Cool. I'll be working on that guy later. All right, there it is with the new pad. And it looks good. So there it is. This was a fun little project. Will it see any use? I guess if you have to polish the shoes for your tuxedo, maybe you could use it. It's too light duty really for much else, so I don't think I will really have much of a use for it. But it was a fun project to work on. And you know, if you enjoyed this video or you've enjoyed some of my other content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me and it helps the channel grow. And you know, as I always say, if you've got one of these and maybe it needs a new power cord or it's stuck or a new pad or something, you know, it's pretty easy to work on. Just take a few screws out. I was able to fix most of the plastic warping problems, so it's pretty much sealed now. And, you know, you can do it. All you have to do is go out and get busy. Take care.